All right. Okay. All right. Time to get into this one-on-one crap, guys. We are going to look at Brig 101. Yes, finally, yay, we're looking at support. Um, Brig being one of my favorite supports to look at. Why? Brig is, again, as I talked about yesterday, she's a less of a mechanically skilled character, more of a very much overall brain kind of character, right? Now, best way I can kind of break this down to you is these are points. There's obviously more detail. Again, something I want to make clear. There will obviously be a lot more detail that I could go through. I could go through super specific stuff. And if I notice specific stuff, I'll point it out. But these points will generally be the main specific points to make your break a good overall break, right? For example, here, a good thing that I can think about is flail. I haven't put flail in here, but there is a key thing that is important again when utilizing your flail, sorry, in dive beat dive. I'll highlight it a bit, but it's not one of the biggest things that will cause you to be a really bad versus really good break. It will be a good detail that kind of makes you just a little bit better, but not a basic thing that kind of helps you become that better break, right? So to look at the points in terms of break, and I'll do it over here. Actually, I'll play this out a little bit so that activating objective is kind of out of the way. Thank you. We'll categorize the points this way. I'm going to make this line so that I can kind of go through this brig. Points. All right. The masterclass of brig. How does this start? Well, I'm gonna actually break this down to what I think is most important to least important. And first things first, I will always start with this. Actually, I'll start with this. No, I'll start with position first. Position is probably the first thing that's really important. All right, your position. Now, what about your position? What about kind of what you do, right? And this kind of goes with identifying when to play aggro versus passive, but it's mainly you need to understand. I think a big thing that breaks struggle with is their start point. Um, their start point with positioning a lot of the time. I'll also say the end point, and this is where the inspire point kind of comes in here as well. So instead of saying start point slash end point, I'll say start slash end point. Um, Now, why do I say this? Well, in dive, most of the time people are like, I need to start on my Zen. And that is correct. You do need to start on your Zen. You do need to protect your Zen, especially in like against other dives. Well, what's next? Well, ignoring all the mid fight and all this other stuff going on, because that will be in a following point. My end point, like where do I want to end? What do I want to do? Most breaks play hyper protective of their Zen. And that is good in a way, but bad in a way. And the reason I say it's good and bad in a way is because people don't understand two things. Number one, they don't understand why they start where they start. They just know that they have to protect their Zen. Number two is they don't really understand this end point a little bit more, right? So like why, like why am I ending like where I need to end? Why do I have to maybe move up? Why am I playing where my team is playing, etc., etc. So this is where it gets really important, right? And inspire is a second point, but I'll put it like this instead as an extra point. Uh, so this is a question you always have to ask yourself when you're thinking about your positioning as well. How do I heal? Well, I have packs. Okay, you do have packs. You're correct. How many packs do you have? You have 3 packs. Yeah, that's right. 3 packs. Okay, cool. Can you utilize these 3 packs to sustain throughout an entire fight? No. Why? Because the rule of thumb usually with packs is you want to at least have 1 pack up at all times just in case something happens. Something doesn't happen, it's okay. Don't worry about it, right? But you always want to try to have that pack up for safety purposes, right? So if packs aren't my main way of healing, right? How do I heal? What's the main way that I heal? Inspire, right? Yeah, man, inspire. That's like a pretty important thing, right? Yeah. Well, now I ask a question. So back to this. How do I heal? Well, inspire is my main healing. How do I heal? Well, how do I proc inspire if that's my main healing? I hit people. Yeah, like that's a good thing. I use my flail. That's another good thing. Yeah, like those are pretty good. But qu quick thing, like you're a melee character. So how do you hit people? Oh, I gotta move up, I gotta walk, I gotta like kind of like flail back and forth. Yeah, you're right. You gotta walk up. That is the big thing people don't understand. And this is why I said the start point is the roughest part for Briggs. Why? Because they get so attached to the start that they don't understand that at the end of the day, yes, you're supposed to start to keep your Zen alive, but at your end point positioning is always to think about what your major goal is. Yes, one of your major goals is to keep Zen alive in dive. But your other major goal is I need to proc inspire so my team doesn't die. If my team dies, it's GG. We friggin' lose. Go next. So you need to play aggro. Like you need to know when you need to brawl, right? And this is when point number 2 comes in, right? Identify when to play aggro versus passive, right? Oh, that writing looks atrocious. Holy shits. All right, back this up. Identify. When to play. Well, we'll start with aggro just to be consistent. Aggro versus passive. All right. So something that I always talk to my break players about. This is a key thing we need to keep in mind, right? We talked about starting position, protect Zen, right? And this is what I'll do. I'll do this in blue. You start with Zen. You end, most of the time, I said to inspire, to proc inspire healing, right? Because that's your main healing. So most of the time when you're procking inspire healing, you're brawling, is kind of like how I do it. You're brawling as break, right? So instead of using a character, you start on Zen. I'll say you start at a poker, like a poke range, right? A distance, and then you play close. So you play a long range, and then you play a close range, right? And then to make it so that the thoughts are kind of out there a little bit more, how do I heal? Inspire. Oh, I heal. This is my main heal, right? So identifying when to play aggro versus passive. Okay, well, I have identified in step number 1, the big thing that I need to do is I need to probably start to protect my Zen, and then I need to close the distance with Brawl so that I can proc my main heal, which is Inspire. Okay, well, that's cool. So how about the in-between that I kind of just skipped around? Because I talked about where you need to start and where you need to end. Well, what is the big thing that I need to identify when to play aggro or passive? Well, passive is very simple versus aggro, and it goes back to the thought process of your Zen, right? The Zen is a really important person to think about here when you need to know to go aggressive and passive. Well, it goes back to this, right? What's my threats? Well, flankers. Okay. Well, if flankers are my threats, right? When we want to go passive, right? Well, I'll put it like this instead. Instead of writing it as passive, we'll go,
Hello there.
when I want to go either passive or aggro, right? There's 2 thoughts that come into my mind first. Are flanks clear? Question mark. Yes, no. Yes, cool. Flanks are clear. We're good to go. All right, we go to the next step, right? All right, flanks are clear. Thing I will add to this, who clears the flank? Looking at the team, Tracer can clear flank, Ball could probably clear flank, right? Diva could kind of clear flank. Zen could clear flank, technically speaking. You also should be clearing the flank, okay? Most of the time, I'm going to be real with you. Your flankers can help you clear, but if they are already in, potentially looking for a dive, it is your job to clear the flank with your Zen, with your Ana, with your Diva, right? You are supposed to clear flanks as well. You want to be proactive, right? And I'll add that in a moment, but are flanks clear? Yes or no? If flanks are clear, perfect. That's step one. That's condition one cleared. Now that flanks are cleared, you ask a simple question. Can I take space? Well, if flank's clear, you can probably look to start taking. You don't have to worry about the Zen, so you could potentially take space, but there's one other factor that you need to keep in mind when I can take space, and that is simply being one of two things, right? Which is this. Mainly, most of the time, it's this. Whoop. Is my front line applying pressure? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean is him, maybe him. Are they applying pressure to where I can walk up and take space? Yes or no? Maybe? Okay. Yeah, bro, 110%. Like, if they're already applying pressure, and applying pressure, remember, means are they going aggressive? Are they taking a lot of heat at that time? Yes? Well, walk up. Man up. Walk up. You have nothing to fear. No one's looking at you. You take the space. You go to the closest terrain so that you can go melee things, right? If not that, then you walk up. You go do stuff, right? That's the big thing that you have to understand all the time, right? All the time. Okay? And this, as an extra point here, right? Whoop, I'm gonna do this in pink. This is being, I'm gonna like remove this line here now. Proactive. These two are you being proactive. So when you hear someone say, be proactive on break, this is what we mean. This is what coaches mean. This is what higher level players mean. Be proactive. Clear flanks. Understand when you can take space, right? Look at the signs, right? That is what you should always be thinking about. Always, 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 right? Yeah, always thinking about that kind of stuff. So we have now spoken about basic play. How do we understand our positioning at the start and the end? How do we understand why we start, where we do? How do we identify where we end? Why do we do that? Okay, we understand why. How do we identify that middle section, right? How do we know when to start taking space, play a little bit more aggressive? When do we know to just play more on our Zen and play a little bit more passive, right? All right, well, we got that. We got the start to the middle to the end, right? We got everything all kind of figured out there. Well, how about the key smaller points now? Okay, well, let's go to a little bit of the smaller points. For sake's purposes, I will kind of do flail, right? Potentially, but I'll start with pack mainly first and rally because I think those are more important. We'll start with pack first and then we'll go with that. So with pack, some key things to keep in mind here. Number one, do not go below one pack. Please, please, please understand. You do not want to spam all your packs. There are some situations where, yes, you will need to spam your packs. Always consistently try to have one pack available at all times. If you do not have one pack available at all times, there's something wrong. You're overusing your packs, and you need to reevaluate what's causing you to utilize your packs. Are you proccing your Inspire properly? Yes or no, etc., right? All right. Second point that's really important with pack usage. As you can tell, there's a lot of do nots, right? Uh, do you know what? I'll do not last, and I'll do this first. Instead of mainly, I'll do first. On support. This goes back to your job as a Brig. What is your main job as Brig? Is your main job to enable flankers, or your main job to protect the Zen, protect your flex support? Well, with Ana, it's a little bit different. You can play a little bit more loose with your packs. But when you're playing Zen, it always goes like this. You pack first on supports. You pack second on flankers, okay? Why? Because your Zen is very vulnerable. You need to make sure you have enough packs to keep that guy alive. If that guy dies in your watch, right, that is a mistake. You have already messed up somewhere, right? You cannot allow that to happen. Right? So that's why it's really important most of the time you keep your packs for your support. The only time that you can be a little bit more lenient and maybe you pack flankers over packing your support partner is when you have something like an Ana, like I said, that has a need to self-sustain herself a little bit more. But even those, then sometimes depending on the comp, right, you want to be able to allow that person to have success and you want to try to enable them to stay alive and have less to worry about, right? Which goes into my last point with packs, which is this. Again, I'm using do not a lot with packs. For the love of God, if you're on break, okay, I'm gonna break this down really easily for you. I look at this composition. Who's the least mobile people in this composition right now? Okay, my two supports are the least mobile people in this composition. All right, I understand. So if they're the least mobile people in this composition, okay, I'm gonna ask you a simple question. On break, should you be chasing the most mobile people, making sure that they have the packs? You're always in LOS of them. Um, no. Well, why? Right? You want to enable them. So why aren't you going to their beck and call and packing them? Well, it's very simple. They have mobility. They can go to you easier than you can go to them. All right? So you need to understand that not all the time you need to run out in a position where you can pack them. They can come to you. Let them come to you, right? If they can't come to you, right? And say for example you can take space, you might not be able to pack them right away, but you will take space, and as you identify being able to be more aggressive and taking space faster, you will be able to pack them much faster. You will be in a good position to pack them, right? And again, you need to, what I'm trying to say here is, before, when your Zen, I'm not saying when your Zen is safe or whatnot. It's when your Zen isn't safe, or like these guys are in super dangerous territory, or you're doing a rotation and they need heals. Like, don't force yourself to be in a position to have to pack them first and then go. Rotate first, do what you need to do first, that's your primary job, and then pack them. It is their responsibility to play around you and understand your main role, right? They have packs, like health packs. Specifically, they can play around on the map. Make them have to play those more, right? Don't go to their beck and call. You do not have to do that, right? Okay? So 3, uh, man, I'm running out of room because like I'm writing a lot here. Okay, I'm gonna do, I kind of want to do a little bit of flail. I'll do flail like over here in this vicinity, not as a point, but like as an extra. Okay, number 4, inspire. This is my biggest pet peeve with inspire. Okay. So I explained this point to Zulik a little bit here with inspire. Way back in the day when I was on Third Impact coaching those team with Tayo, Decod, Icy, Zik, Iris. Zolik was the main support at the time. He played Brig. When I was talking to him about Brig, Inspire was one of the hardest alts that people we're having difficulty getting value from. This is how I explained to him. Two main points. I'm not even gonna put it like that. I'm gonna put it like this. Juggle. Aggro. Seconds. Main tank. All right. So, quick pop quiz. How much armor can you get from rally? That stacks up. I believe it's 300 armor you can get, close to that amount, right? Now, something to kind of add to that. You are also a character that can heal yourself with Inspire, right? So my big beef most of the time with Briggs is if you can heal yourself, you have a lot of armor where you're like pretty much just as tanky as a tank. Why aren't you acting as second main tank when you are popping that Inspire, right? It's good to play for your support, play for your to enable your support. But sometimes that is when you need to tell them, walk up with me. I will protect you. Or if they don't even need to worry about protection because your team is diving first or anything like that, you walk up with Rally and you go, yo, we're going hard. I don't give a crap. And you act like a second main tank. You act like you have a lot of power in your control. And you juggle aggro with your tanks. You juggle aggro with your team. And the way that I explained this to Zolik, my old main support, was like this. You juggle aggro with your tanks. It's just like MMO. It's just like WoW, right? Think about it. Like you don't have one person tank the entire thing. You have multiple tanks to juggle the aggro between different mobs or between the boss so you don't get insta one shot, right? And then the rest of your team kind of supports you. And he thought about it and he's like, that makes a lot of sense. I want to juggle so that I take a little bit of the pressure away. They can get some healing, and then I can kind of come. They can kind of come back, and I can take a little bit more of a defensive role. Right? We switch back and forth. That's exactly how you should look to utilize your Inspire. Be aggressive. Don't be scared. Right? I'm not telling you to run into Narnia, but I am telling you wherever your team is engaging, wherever your team is going, play aggressive. If your flex support is not letting you walk forward, tell him to man up. You need to man up and walk with me because I am not going to stay AFK in the back with my rally just so that I can protect you. I can protect you while we walk up because I will give you armor, I will swing, I will CC bash somebody, I will flail somebody away. But for the love of God, let me be able to swing and do my goal, my main goal. How do I heal? Procking Inspire, right? It's important. It is very important. And it's, again, something that I find Briggs struggle with a lot. Now, in terms of flail, we'll quickly kind of bring that into speed. Can kind of act it as like a fifth point. It's kind of hard because I don't have the space over here. So I'm going to have to like put it over here. I know this isn't ideal with the lighting there. But with flail, big things to keep in mind here is pretty much number one, disrupt dive. Now, what do I mean by disrupt dive? Well, there's key ways that you can disrupt the dive. You can disrupt the dive specifically from, you know, booping away a tracer or something like that. But mainly, most of the time, the key thing that kind of allows you to be very successful with flail is flailing the monkey when he goes for a jump, or looking to flail the Hammond when he's going for a slam. There are easy times to be able to flail him, right? Because the animations are very easy. You see them go to the peak of their height, and then you can hit a very easy flail, right? So disrupting the dive that way by disrupting the main tank, which I'll put in brackets here, main tank, will allow you success and create a little bit of a disjointment from the dive as a whole, right? The last thing that I'll say is proc Inspire. During your downtime, right? If you don't have to protect yourself from the dive because you've already survived the dive or anything like that, utilize your flail to help you proc more Inspire, right? when you know that the dive isn't coming, you can use your flail to proc Inspire. Utilize it to consistently proc that Inspire healing. It's strong. You need to proc that. You can't just proc it from using mouse 1. You need to proc it from using your shift as well, right? And these are key things that you need to keep in mind. If I had to be honest, what are the key points you need to look at? I would truthfully say these two. Let's use green to kind of highlight this a little bit better. These two are the main points to make your overall break very strong, right? These two are to make your break an even more scary, advanced kind of break. And then flail is more of like that extra tiny little bit of information to allow you to have a little bit more success. It's not fully necessary, but if you're able to do this kind of stuff with flail, it will get you that step closer to being one of the best breaks, right? But again, in order, the green is in order to allow you to be a good basic break. You understand the basics well. Yellow is if you understand the advanced stuff really well. This puts you a little bit more over the top as break. And then this color, right, the reddish color or purplish color, is just the small details. It's cool, it's great, it helps, but it's not something that will make or break your play. Because if you can't do this other stuff, this tiny detail doesn't matter. Because you're not already getting value with the rest of your kit, right? So, without further ado, we've pretty much talked, and I've talked points and gone through this in a little bit of detail as much as I can. Now it's time to go through actual map, right? So we're going to go through this round of Koth. Let's see how Skew does the basics. Let's see how he does a little bit more of the advanced stuff here, right? So the key thing, again, I'm looking for here. Positioning, his start position, his end position. How is he playing? Is he playing aggro at the right times? Is he following these points that he has to do, right? Is he playing passive at the right times? And then if that stuff is good, Inspire we won't have to look at right away. We'll look at pack usage. How is he using his packs? Who is he prioritizing, right? Who is he not going below one pack? Is he making sure he's playing for the flankers to play for him instead of him playing for the flankers? Let's see. All right. He is playing for the Zen. This is good. He's protecting the flank. You see, he's already moving towards his Zen. He's playing in a position to already enable his Zen. Wherever the flankers are, that's where he's looking. You see Pack goes out on the Zen. He's already trying to pack Zen as much as he can. They're able to kind of close the distance and do a little bit of damage. But the start there was good. He's starting on his Zen. He didn't get to a point at the end of the fight where he could close that distance because they weren't winning it. So he was playing those great positions. Protecting the flank at all times, focusing his packs onto the Zen as they were walking in, right? This is very good from them. This is exactly what you want to see, right? All right. Again, he's walking with his Zen. He's looking to protect his Zen. Let's see if he still does the same thing. Will he protect flanks? He's putting himself in his position where he could potentially flail. Again, he's putting himself in a position where he's between the Zen. This is good. They're in an enclosed room, so he kind of goes down, shoot from that bomb. Not much that really Skewed can do there. So far we're seeing Hunters execute these angles really well, playing those fight zones really well like we talked about before. So far it's making it really hard for Skew and the rest of the team to walk up. Is it their fault necessarily? No, I think Skew's putting himself in good positions to flail away from the dive, that smaller detail, but he's always starting to protect his Zen. He's putting himself in a position to protect. He's forcing these packs onto his Zen. He triple packed his Zen there to keep him alive. And now he walks up. We're rallying. Is he going to walk aggressive or is he going to play passive? Walk, 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 walk. He's playing a little bit too passive. He's waiting around a little bit too much. I don't like how he's utilizing that Inspire. I want to see more aggression. He's doing a good job of like trying to get that end position there. He was trying to close a little bit of distance. This was good. So when we're looking at the points here, going back to this again, he was starting with his Zen. He protected his Zen the entire time there. His end position, he was trying to brawl. He was trying to close that distance. He was trying to proc those main heals. That was good. When did he go aggressive? When he knew his flanks were clear, when he could take space. He saw people playing aggressive. He tried to take the space. Packs, he tried to save one pack all the time. There was only that one time when they went for the full execute onto his Zen that he triple packed him, right? And his Inspire, did he act as that main tank? Did he walk up? He did eventually, but he didn't walk up fast enough. I would have wanted him to take control way more. It looked like they were playing way too safe. Do I like Skewed here so far in terms of how he's protecting from the flanks? Oh, I do like the basics from him. He is protecting the flanks quite well. Aside from protecting the flanks quite well, he is doing a great job of closing that distance when it's the right time, going aggro and passive, right? Having that good start position, having that great end position. And those flails, he's trying to put himself in positions to either deny a dive or proc that Inspire with his flail, right? And look at this. He knows his Zen is safe, so he's walking up. He's looking to potentially help him, right? Now his Zen is dead over there, but overall, Glads win this fight overall. What is my issue there? Do I think that Skewed was in the right there? I do think Skewed was in the right. He was walking forward. He knew his Zen was safe. He knew that the divers had to kind of take a lot more space. And they have control of the space. What am I seeing right now? I'm seeing Shu separate himself from Skewed. He's slowing Skewed down in these rotations. Speed up a little bit, Shu. I need you to play more with my Skewed here. If you play with Skewed more, I promise you you'll live. He's doing a great job of trying to enable you to stay alive, man. So far, big fan of Skew's Brig. I give it the A-OK so far. It's just the Inspire, but I don't know if that's more on him or more on the fact that Shu's not following him around as much, right? Alright, let's see here. We're giving up like so much space here, boys. We gave up so much space here, boys. What's going on? Okay, he's just following Shu around. He's doing his job. He's following Shu. He's trying to keep him alive. But, like, these positionings, man. Like, Skew, take more charge. Like, I understand you want to play where Shu is. But, like, man, you had Rally there. Like, you could play aggressive. Be more confident. Be ready to play way more aggressive, man. Like, do it. Take control. Right? I want to see more control from this break. It feels like right now from watching them play, and I didn't say this as a big point, but communication is a big point from break. And the reason I didn't bring it up is because we can't hear the comms right now between them, right? But if I was them, I would try to get this communication a little bit stronger on Skew's side. It feels more dominated by Shu right now, and I don't like that. I don't want it to be dominated by Shu. I want the ability for Skew to take control as well. Okay, this is good. He's playing towards the side here. He sees that right now he's safe. He knows that the threats are in front of him. Great reactionary Trank. Great job kind of clearing out leave. Gets stuck at the end of the day. It doesn't look like it favors him at that point afterwards. Looks like Chengdu are going to be able to win that map from there. Round. What do I think about this so far? How do I think that he's playing? Well, going back to these points here, I think he's playing the basics incredibly well. His positioning, his start position, great. He's playing with his Zen. He's playing that longer range. He's playing to protect him. And then when he knows he's safe, right, he's identifying when to play aggressive in that mid-fight, right? When the flanks he feels are clear, when he feels like his front line is applying pressure, he's trying to take that space and he's trying to end. He's trying to make a closer distance and brawl so he can proc that main heal of Inspire. He's doing a great job with that. I love it. He's consistently being proactive, right? In terms of his pack usage, I'm seeing him prioritize Shu. Perfect. Love it. Flankers are always second. Love it, right? He's not chasing the flankers. He's making the flankers go to him, which is good as well. He's not putting himself in dangerous positions. And he's not going below one pack very often, as you noticed. There was only the 1 or 2 instances when he went right to 0 because he's triple packing or double packing pretty much Shu right when he gets dove, which is fine. That is okay. It is okay to do that. Only beef is with this Inspire. Play more faster. Play more aggressive, right? And this goes to being proactive again, right? I love how he is doing this right. He's following the spreadsheet right. But what I don't like is the disconnect between him and Shu. Right now, the disconnect is so big that it's actually disabling, honestly, Skewed being able to play more how he wants to, more aggressive. I want to see more aggressive plays from both of them together, not separate angles. Play to where, for you, Shu, you have Skew be your bodyguard. He's your personal bodyguard. He gets to protect you against anything. If he lets you die in any situation, it is his fault. It is not your fault. And I'm telling you right now, like I said, Skew is playing beautifully to protect yourself. So you just need to give him that opportunity. Let him play around you, man. Even the flail stuff, by the way. He missed a few flails to proc Inspire, but he's doing it great. He's positioning himself in a way so he can disrupt the dive with his flail before they go in. He's positioning himself between, like, people as well, like more advanced details that I didn't talk about. He's positioning himself to hug a side so he can deny one side while his diva denies another, right? He's putting himself in a good position where he's consistently between the Zen. Like, it's kind of like a conga line. Diva first, then it's, excuse me, then it's the Brig, then it's the Zen, kind of in that order, right? But man, like, I feel like he's there. Like, the Brig level of play is great. I love it. It's just that little bit. I need to see a little bit more from him, right? All right, let's see here. Let's see if I can go through one more. Do you know what? I want to do roots, but I feel like they played Aritza on roots. Maybe I do Ilios. SMMF. Texzilla? Texola? I'm sorry if I butchered that, and I'm sorry that I'm a little bit late with that. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you've been enjoying what you've been seeing so far. And thanks again for coming in. Hopefully you gained a little bit of info. Oh man, what the heck? Server's disconnected. What the heck, man? Not at the right time here. So a big reason why I'm going through cost, by the way, and I'm not going through any of the payload maps, is the payload maps are good to kind of look at. But I'm trying to figure out what maps they probably played it on. And I know Koth is a very safe thing where they will play it a lot more, right? So that's why I'm going more to the safer route and just playing around where I know he's 100% going to play Brig. So Nubani, I'm like 50-50 on. Like Root, I'm 50-50 on. King's Row, I'm 50-50 on. But King of the Hill, again, I know that they're going to play that kind of Brig. Sage, thank you for the Prime sub, man. I appreciate it. You didn't have to, but it means a lot. I appreciate the support, man. Certified thumbs up smile from Sword. Ah, oh, man, what the heck? I'm mad. Okay, connecting to game server. Man. Alright. Can I play? Play now? Maybe? Can you let me... Man, what's going on, bro? Why aren't you letting me do... there we go. Now I can. Gotta support good content. I wish this stuff was around when I was a player. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Nice compliment. Means a lot to hear that. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of my bad. I could have been doing content for such a long time, but what ended up happening was I was always so nervous to put content out because of like two stupid reasons. Number one, I thought people would like take my stuff that I kind of explain and teach, and I was like super skeptical about like sharing it with others, which I feel like is really stupid when looking back at it now. Like, I'm very much a firm believer now where it's if you can't apply or you can't understand what I'm saying on stream, it's hard for you to apply it most of the time. So there's no harm in like trying to explain this kind of stuff. And honestly, it's probably better to kind of showcase myself and show it that way. But it's also good for you guys too, right? Like for the people that want to kind of learn a little bit more and kind of increase their knowledge or try to learn a little bit more. I think it's so good to do this stuff, and it's stuff that I wish I did earlier. And I feel, again, stupid for not doing this earlier because I've been around for so long. I could have started this like back in 2018, like when Al first started or something. But again, I was just a young kid back then. Didn't really have the confidence that I have now and the experience I have now. So live and learn. All right. It doesn't look like it's crashing. We go back to skew POV. All right. This time it's on Ilios. All right. We're not playing against the dive this time. This time we're playing against this kind of Pharah composition. Do I like this? Yes. This is probably going to be the one round that we go through, right? And I'll probably take a pause here after this. And that will be that. Why do I like this? Well, look at what we're playing against here. We're playing against a huge spam comp. It's going to be really hard to identify when to take space. Is your Zen going to be safe a lot of time? Yeah. The difficult part is how do I take space? When do I take space? He has to rely on this pressure a lot of the time, right? Oh my god, that boop. Holy cow. Alright, let's see how he plays. Okay. Don't really know where Zen is. I assume he's up top. So Skewed is playing like very much in a very safe position. See how he's not forcing anything? He's kind of just waiting around. Like, this is kind of how you should be playing Brig. at the start when you're playing against a fair composition like this or a very heavy spam composition, you shouldn't be walking forward so aggressively all the time. You need to let your teammates force something, right? Because if your teammates force something first, that will allow you to take space and probably not get spammed as often. But if you do not, then you try to walk up the same time as you go for a dive or anything along those lines, it doesn't really work out in your favor a lot of the time. So right now, we see that Glads are struggling against this. Skewed, again, he hasn't really been doing much. He's just been waiting for aggression from his team. I would like for this backline to all rotate together on the low ground and try to absorb any sort of pressure or dive that comes their way. If not, like, just take space. You don't need to high ground. You just need to play in a position where you guys can all move around the map well, right? Okay, this is good. He's letting space take a little bit more charge. He's letting Birdring play in a position as well. Geshu, you're like kind of leaving Skewed in a bit of Africa. Okay, he's playing terrain pretty well. He backs up when he knows he's in a little bit of danger here. He's unable to pack Muse. It feels like right now they're unable to get as much value. I'm not a fan of Shu playing so far back, to be honest with you. I would love to see Shu play a little bit more aggressive, to be honest with you, with Skewed as he's taking space. Birdring and Space are taking good space with Skewed, but Shu is not. Man, what the heck's going on? I just want to review games, man. Let me review one more game, please. This is frustrating. I'm so mad now. Like, I just want to look at one more game, please. Let me look at one more cleanly. Darn it, dude. Absolutely. I was a player in 2018, so you would have started a while back. Glad you got over it, though. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy I got over it a little bit, too, honestly. Man, like, I'm just, like, trying, like, to freaking just want to watch more Skewed POV, but it's not working. Okay, play. Alright, Overwatch, I need you to work. I just want to look over one more round of Koth with Skewed, and that's it. Just operate for me for one round of Koth, and then I won't ask for anything else. Unless this round gets is like a quick 2-0 or something, or I feel like it might be a quick 2-0. But if Glad struggle this hard, then like maybe I go through a second round as well. But let's see. Okay, let's skip ahead here. I think we were we were over here. Okay. Alright, it looks like Glad's kind of struggled a lot here. So I might switch over from his POV to a macro overall, like overhead, like a bird's eye view, to kind of show you like Skew could be doing the right things, but it all depends on how the rest of his team moves with him. There's only so much he can do, and this is why I want him to take more charge. Okay, he's rallying. Okay, I quickly want to see where's... Okay, he's not pushing anything though. He's not doing anything. Okay, Shu is playing with him this time around though. Okay, I need you to walk forward. Okay, Skewed is walking forward. Shu is not walking forward with him. Okay, he's marking the fair though. That's good at least. He like sat so long in this area that he didn't get the value with his rally when he needed to. Again, I feel like him and Shu are on separate pages. Okay, let's see how this kind of goes. Do they change around their style of play? It looks like they're keeping the same. It's gonna be dive versus dive here now, I'm pretty sure. So this will be an interesting thing to see how they fare up against Chengdu's dive, right? Okay. So we always need to ask ourselves, where's Shu, right? Again, where's Shu? And then is he playing around Shu? He is. Shu's right behind him. This is great. He's utilizing his shield. See how he's walking and utilizing his shield at terrain so he can see where they are? This is great. He's slowly trying to take a little bit more space. Great flail from him. Bashes away. Good use of the bash. It doesn't have to always use it for CC. You can use it for mobility as well. That's great. Now he's walking up. Again, great flail by him there. That was a great hit. Okay, you're walking up to try to zone them off. All right. Okay, again, focus on what's in front of you. Utilize this terrain. This is good, Skew. Okay, Shu is playing towards backside. This is fine. Shu's safe. Do I still want Shu to play more aggressive with Skewed? I would like him to play more aggressive with Skewed, but it seems like he's playing a little bit more defensive. Now he's playing aggressive. Why? This bothers me, man. Skewed should be more forward now based off of where his Zen is. See how his Zen is ahead of him now? This is not how this should be going. He bashes so that he can reach his Zen. Flow misses. Goodbye, Shu. See what I mean by their out of sync? Every time Shu tries to go something aggressive, Skewed is never close by. But every time Skewed wants to take space and move forward, Shu is like never close. Like it's almost like there's no trust from Shu on Skewed's Brig. Like he doesn't trust the fact that Skewed will be there to protect him or like enable him. It makes me kind of sad actually, to be honest with you. Because I feel like Skewed is such a mechanically skilled player that this is something like, I gotta pause here for a second and explain this. This is something I explained to Majid, like Sir Majid, if you guys know who he is. He's a EU player that is, I think he's rank 1 currently on the EU ladder. He was on my old team, Raspberry Racers. And what ended up happening was he was a highly mechanically skilled player. What we ended up doing with him is, I talked to him because he had similar problems with walking up for space. I asked him straight up, I'm like, hey man, do you feel confident in your aim? Do you think you can 1v1 anyone in the game? And he looked at me and he's like, yeah, like I can shit all over anyone you put me against. And I'm like, good. I'm like, where's that in your play? Why are you playing so far back? And he's like, well, someone can kill me. I'm like, what happened to you can kill anyone in this game? Like you can 1v1 anyone in this game. And he's like, he got silent there for a second. And then I say, you have a break? Think about it like this. You have a break specifically for you. I need you to take space with your break when your break is walking forward. And she will put you in a position to 1v1. Because remember, you told me you can 1v1 anyone in the game. And you can agree with me, the closer you get, the easier it is to hit your shots, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. Like the closer I am, like less projectile, it becomes more hit scan. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So be someone that has big balls and walk up when you know that you can take space and be aggressive. At the start, it was a little bit rough, but as time went on, he got more confident in playing aggressive and working the map and playing the map when he knew he could play aggressive, and he would call it himself. He'd be like, push, 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 I want to go, I want to go. And we would go in, and I remember teams messaging me and being like, dude, what is, like, matches is cracked. Like, this kid is just walking up and just killing everyone, like on Zen. Like, this guy is awesome. I'm like, yeah, this guy can just walk into your backline and just kill 3 if he's given the space and the opportunity to, right? And that's what I expect from Shu here. You have Skewed that's actually playing Break quite well, but the thing that's disabling him is Shu, right? And this is why I'm going to like forget about looking at POV anymore. I want to look at the overhead and I want to see how this play kind of goes. Like how desynced are him and Shu? Because right now it looks like at the start they are okay. But as time goes on, they're less desynced. Or they're more desynced, sorry. Alright, look at this. They're very far from each other here. They link back up. But look where the rest of the team is. Skew should be playing more forward here. He can choke with a rally here. He shouldn't be playing so far back. See how far back he's playing? He should play more forward so he can be a part of this brawl, right? Now he's brawling, but look how much space he would have to close here, right? This whole space, they're coming over here. He wants to make it so that he has as little time with the waste as little time with his rally duration to close the distance, right? He doesn't want to waste 3 seconds to just close the distance and be able to start brawling them then. He wants to brawl them in 1 second duration from his rally, right? Maybe 2. He's starting too far back here. From that, like he gets booped off the map. Both support ults get forced. And they just lose. Like, when your team is playing this far forward, and by this far forward, I mean like where I'm circling here, you need to be ready to pounce and go aggressive with them. Like, you guys can't play in your main. The fight zone's over here. Where you want to go is over here. Play like by the statue maybe, right? Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, EMP is set up. They're both set up on the right-hand side. How is this going to work for them? Okay, they're playing very safe first. Okay, Tracer's forced out. I need I need space to be taken somewhere. Okay, they go for a slam here on the left. Skew goes down to a bomb. Like, they're playing so slow here from Glads. You need to force something so your backline can walk up, guys. Skewed and Shu play together that time. They're stuck in a room. They're not able to do anything at that point because they're stuck in the room, right? They need somebody else to force stuff on the map. Man, oh man, oh man. All right. Okay, we see the aggression come out again from Glads. I see good kind of space. They're playing a little bit more back because of the rally. That's okay. But see how they keep going in this room? They consistently are just playing in this room, and I understand playing in that room, like why it's strong. Because if someone tries to go into you with like a diver or something, you can protect yourself really easily, and usually you can kill them if they try to go in. But so far, leaving it in with a pulse bomb, Gaga has now gone in with mines, and you're always putting yourself in a position over here where your team's fighting on point. You can't help your team on point if you're over here. Play in more of an open area for yourselves, right? When your team is taking more space. I'm not a big fan of this movement from these guys. Now it's last fight territory. They gotta go against a bunch of ults. Man, they're not gonna even be able to touch just based off of that. It's such a scrappy fight. Ah, man, like I need to watch the front, like the forward, and I need to show you like how split they were at the start there. Like watch this. Look at this. I'll back up a little bit more. Okay. They start together. He understands that they're safe, so he walks up, right? Skew's walking up. He goes backwards because he's taking a little bit too much damage. Now he starts to walk up again because he sees where the fight's happening. He knows the flankers are forced out. This is where my issue comes. Like now Shu is kind of playing this angle and like playing aggressive here. This is fine. But now you look at the rest of the team, right? Skewed and Shu need to walk forward. See here how everyone from Hunters are in full like retreat? I need to see Shu start to press the W key here. See how he's hesitant to press the W key? Now he presses the W key, but look at this now, right? Look at this desync here. They go to try to kill these guys over here in main, but the back line is so slow because Skewed is so delayed or so split off from Shu. They seem to be on different pages. And from there, look at this. This whole time that the front line has been fighting from Glads, the back line hasn't even walked out. And that's the crazy part. Like that's the desync here from those guys, right? I feel like the overall basics here from Skewed is so good, but I just don't like how they're playing, like overall, like in terms of just like together. And this goes back to the fight. I think this is a fight when they have Trance and Rally, right? You look at where they are. I understand that they're rallying, but look at your ults. You have a bomb, you have an EMP. You're close to a rally yourself. Hold your space. I know that you might want to like wait out this rally, but look at this. By the time this backline has walked in, right? Look how much percentage of rally you have left. You have 4 seconds. You could have played closer, potentially hit a flail, or been in a position to hit a pack or something, and had your rally and just counter rallied here. And it doesn't matter that you're both rallying at the same time. Your rally will last later than their rally. So it doesn't even matter. And this is what I mean. They're playing back because they're like, oh, they're rallying. Like, we don't want to be in any brawl position. That's great. But then the rally's done, and now look how much space you have to cover based off of where your team is, right? Your team's going to look to fight them over here, right? On the left or towards the point side here, right? But look how far you are. Like, your team's looking here, and now you're walking forward, right? This is good. But you could have already been this close ahead of time, and your team would have been ready for this dive, right? I just don't understand why they give up so much space. tries to bash the Tracer to try to kill her too, and then like he just goes off the map. Again, like it's just about like too passive. And I can't tell if it's skewed or it's Shu. Based off of the movement, I feel like Shu is taking the reins on these calls and being like, yeah, we got to back up. Yeah, we got to do this. Yeah, we got to do that. And that's forcing Skewed. Skew will still do his own play and properly adjust it, but I feel like it's hindering him and it's hindering his play. Skewed needs to speak up more, I think, and they will be in a much stronger position. That would just be my guess because his movement seems more so around and tailored to his Zen compared to tailored to him. And that's what you need to understand as break. There's a balance. It's not just playing around your Zen all the time. When you know your Zen is safe, now he has to play around you and play to be aggressive, right? So again, like a big thing, we'll go right to the end here. I won't let me. I gotta play it out here. Okay. So we'll go right to the end here and I'll quickly go through these points again, right? So like I said, with these points, right? What did Skew do well? What did Skew not do well? I think overall, he approached the basics quite fantastically. Do I think that in terms of when he was going aggro and he was doing this endpoint, his Zen dying or him not always being in the ideal aggressive position when they had space was right or done well? I don't think so. But that's fine because I feel like it potentially is on him and it's a communication thing and a leadership thing, or it's more so that he's listening or Shu's pretty much playing a little bit too defensively. Like Shu has to be ready to play more aggressive. Like don't be scared. Your break will be there. She will protect you, right? Pack usage, Inspire usage. Inspire goes back to what I was saying with regard to Shu. It feels a little bit rough when you're trying to go aggressive. He wants to go aggro, it feels, but it doesn't seem like the timing is right. It feels like it's really, really rough, and he's hesitant at the start of his rallies. He doesn't have as much distance closed, right? It feels more so defensive than aggressive, and that's not what I like my rallies with. I like them to be more aggressive, right? Packs are really good. He never really went below one pack. He's using it to enable Shu first in these fights. He's not going after his flankers. He's not chasing them in the fights and going in awkward positions. He's going in good positions all the time, right? As for the rest, right? Flail, the smaller details. He was doing the flail stuff really well, too. So overall, the basic, advanced, and the smaller details, he was doing quite well overall. All right? So keep in mind these big things that I kind of talked about before. That being said, that is it for the Brig POV.